Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel.
Today we're going to be talking about preparing to go to the mission field. And for us, that really entailed three main things. It entailed for us preparing our hearts, preparing our home, and preparing our destination.
So preparing our hearts was kind of the first big hurdle for us. It was, I think, the thing that we struggled with the most. Part of that's because there's so much on that upfront side. There's confirming the call, there's when to go, there's where to go, there's whether or not to use an organization. There's so many different things to think about before you just show up on the mission field. Most of that's been covered, at least briefly, in some of our previous videos. For us, it was important to understand that we're all called, right? If we're a Christian, if we're following Christ, we're all called to mission work. Whether it's local missions, whether it's day-to-day life, whether it's international missions, we're all called to it. Where we need to be sensitive is to where God's calling us to do that. And for us, the Lord used a lot of little things to kind of open our eyes to where we were being called to go. For us, our church was super mission-minded, had a lot of mission trip opportunities, and the Lord was able to speak through some of that and kind of give us a direction from there. The Lord continues to talk, and if you're willing to listen, He's willing to talk to you. So that was kind of a hard pill to swallow, because you have this idea of living the American dream, and then it's like, okay, now you're going to be a missionary. And it's just different. As to when, it's literally just listen to the Lord and being willing to take that next step. For me, it was really an encouragement to see how Paul struggled, and he wanted to go to Asia, and he tried to go to Asia 3 different times, and God said, no. And so it's not just, oh, there's work there, so we have to go, but it's where your work is and where God's calling you to go. And I believe if your heart's open and you're prayerfully seeking Him, you're prayerfully seeking counsel, then He'll show you where that's at in time.
And for us, I think that was a time in our lives when we really spent a lot of time in prayer and in God's Word, because that's the way He speaks to us is through His Word, and He's always faithful to show us whenever we diligently seek Him.
Yeah. So the next big step that we took in preparing our hearts was, once we understood where we were going and a general time frame, is seeking counseling and seeking training. So we had the blessing in our lives to have several retired missionaries and friends who've been involved in missions for many years, and a lot of resources just to be able to tap into that and kind of get like just an idea of what that looks like and how to go about doing it and what those needs up front are going to be. And they were able to help us kind of fulfill that need in a lot of different ways.
I think they were also able to provide a lot of really good reading during that time. We did a lot of reflection, praying, and reading God's Word, and also a lot of mission books that just kind of helped us know what to expect.
So then after kind of that confirmation phase, we started kind of opening up to some of our friends and our family. And honestly, that was kind of a mixed bag for us. There was some people that were super just over the top excited for us. There's other people that were not super happy about it. And some of those were difficult to deal with. So I would encourage you guys to really be strong in your calling, if this is what the Lord's calling you to do, and really be sure in what it is that you're supposed to be doing before you start really broadcasting it, because confirmation from the Lord is a confirmation that you need. Mm-hmm. And if you are following Him and if you're seeking Him in this, then He's going to provide for the funding, He's going to provide for the safety, He's going to provide all the things that you need. And we're seeing it time and time again here.
Yeah, so our next step was just preparing our home. We had been on kind of a purging cycle already with getting rid of some of our things. And as we were more and more sure of, yes, we're going to be moving internationally, we really started peeling away the layers of stuff in our house. And I would encourage you guys, if you're thinking about missions, if you know that you're going to missions, that you go ahead and start purging away those things that just aren't necessary. It was really helpful for us to be able to have several months of preparation where we could just kind of peel that back layer by layer instead of just doing everything at once. I feel like going room by room and just getting rid of things, just little bit by little bit, really helped the clutter in our house just to go away, but also it helped our family not to feel such a hit at once. We were able to just go through that little bit by little bit, and especially for the kids to be sensitive in the things that are special to them, because they're not always special to you, but you want to make sure that you are being considerate of their feelings towards certain objects, even if you don't think they're not super special.
So for us, Tiff started down this minimalist road a little bit before our confirmation to missions. And for me, I always fix things and stuff, so I always collect things, and she's, the one that always gets rid of the stuff. But then as we confirmed the calling and we all started participating in it, the Lord, she gave peace, because I'd watch the kids, because they'd have their toys and they'd go through their room and they'd say, okay, these are the things we need to donate, these are the things we can get rid of, these are the things that are still special to me. And then, a couple weeks later, they'd come in and they'd say, hey, Mom, I've got some more stuff that can go ahead and be cut. And then it was interesting how it continued to progress till it got to a point where they're like, Mom, I got all my belongings in my backpack or in my suitcase. And it was just awesome to see how God gave peace, even in those little things.
Yeah, another thing that really helped us is to find a special place for your special things. So just giving away certain items. For us, our dining room table was a big thing. Dave and the kids had made that by hand, and it was actually like a giant Mother's Day card, because they all wrote things underneath the table, just special things. And so I was able to take pictures of the notes and everything that was written under the table. But we've ended up finding a really good home for a table with a family that we really love, and that could really use a giant table.
That was one of the things that was really difficult for me, was the loss of these different items. For several years, I've went and made bookshelves and cutting boards and kitchen tables and benches and paintings and all sorts of crazy things. At first, it started off just as kind of like a little silly I love you, and I wrote Tiff a note on the back. The bookshelf, I think, was the first thing I built for your birthday. And I just wrote a note on it, and I said, I hope it serves you and our future kids well, or something like that. So then as I'd build things, I'd always just scribble a note on the back and sign it. It was just a way for me to kind of pour my heart into it and kind of put my love into the thing that I made, None of them were particularly well built or anything, I didn't think. But
I thought they were great.
But for me, as we'd take these things and we'd give them to somebody, or we'd have to let them go, it was difficult, because I felt like a part of my heart was kind of being given away as well. So that was something that I didn't expect, that really, really was difficult.
Another thing that really helped us was just asking our family to hang on to a few really special things. I have 4 girls, and so I always wanted them to be able to wear my wedding dress if they were to want to do that. So I asked my mom to hang on to that for me. But besides that, I think we just asked them to hang on to a few important documents. We took most of our important documents with us, but we kept very little. So we stored some things to be shipped later at our friend's house, and we really appreciated that. But after a little while, the things that we were going through those again, and it's like, well, we actually don't really need those here. So even some of the things that you might think you need, you realize after you've been separated from them a while that they aren't super necessary.
Yeah. The last step that we took was preparing our destination. And for us, that kind of came in kind of a couple little steps. The first step was this year in January, I came down on kind of a house hunting mission. Tiff is really good at scouring the web and looking for things and trying to find like housing and things like that. And she'd found a bunch of different things. The problem was we weren't super familiar with the area. We didn't know where were the safe parts of town, where were the dangerous parts of town, how close these little communities were. And being unfamiliar with a lot of the terminology and the way the city's laid out, we really didn't have a way to reference what that looked like or geographically where that was. So in January, I was able to come down. I was able to present at our church, Gracia Abundante, here, and just kind of tell them like what our plans are and how the Lord's kind of leading us, and kind of give a abbreviated missions presentation there. And then we took kind of the rest of that week and really just went around town. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy, but just kind of like, hey, this is a pretty good spot. This is like what you find in this area. This is what this area holds. Kind of stay away from these areas, and just kind of giving me a really good idea of what I'm looking for and what would work best for our family. We came back to the States and we kind of started that finalizing of everything, where the combination of preparing our hearts, preparing our home, and then preparing for the destination all came together. Finalized giving things away, finalized getting rid of stuff. And so I guess it was about March, end of March, we came down here, moved the whole family. I'll see if I can find a picture of us hauling all of our luggage. We, thank God, having a big family, but Southwest still had, I think it was two check bags and a carry-on bag and a backpack. We took advantage of all of it. The problem was when we moved here, we didn't have a house located. We didn't have the paperwork that we needed to rent a house. So we had to have some time that thankfully the Lord provided a spot at our mission house through the church. And Pastor Nathan and his wife Michelle were super hospitable, and they brought us in and they hosted us and they fed us and they drove us around and showed us around, and for about 2 or 3 weeks, I'd say, we finally got our paperwork done, got all of our information compiled so that we could go ahead and rent this house. And then, of course, we had tons of help here with our local family that just poured into us, helped us with legal stuff, helped us with setting up our accounts and our things that we needed, renting the house, I mean, moving, everything. And so that was just such a blessing to have that right up front, where we could really get our legs up underneath us and really just get going forward on the mission that the Lord's given us.
Yeah, so the rest of the time that we spent in the States was really spent fundraising and also just having those final get-togethers with friends and family. I don't think I can say enough about how important those things are. And I would encourage you to take lots of pictures whenever those get-togethers happen, and try to see as many people as you can, but realize that sometimes you might not get everybody, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
Just doing your best to make sure that the people in your life know how important that they are to you is really important. So I think that about wraps it up for us. That's how we went about preparing to go. If you guys have any questions or comments on our process, just let us know. We love to answer more questions about that.
Yeah. Thank you for those of you guys who have reached out to us and left us some comments. We're working on some of those videos. We're working on probably like a week in the life, because our day-to-day is so different. But we're trying to work on one of those videos and get some other things going. Guys, thank you so much for spending some time with us. We'll catch you on the next one.